Welcome guys to another puzzle highlight. This one was composed by Otto Bláthy in 1890, long time ago. It is white to move and as you can see, black has pretty much his entire army. However, if you take a look, pretty much none of his pieces can move. It's crazy. And on the other hand, even though white only has 2 pawns, a knight and a bishop, or should I say an astonishing sniper, pretty much every piece has a job. You know, these pawns and this knight just completely box in the king, and this bishop, this sniper is ready to land an headshot whenever this knight decides to leave the e4 square. So, as it turns out, white actually has mate in 20. It's crazy. However, it is up to you to prove it, since our usually trusty buddy Stockfish completely denies this claim and calls you crazy. Because as you can see by the bar, he says it's a dead draw. So this is your opportunity to be better than Stockfish and prove him wrong, basically. So I know these puzzles can be really daunting at first sight. You know, you take a look, you want to have basically 2 pieces against Black's entire army. But I really encourage you to pause the video and try to come up with a solution, because at the end of the day, it's a pretty simple idea. I won't say it's an easy idea to spot, but in hindsight, it's a simple idea. But yeah, just pause the video. So hopefully by now you guys have tried to solve the puzzle, but if you didn't or just couldn't solve the puzzle, I'm still going to give you another moment to pause, and I'm basically going to give you a hint. So, if you take a look at this position, in our case it's white to move. However, if it were black to move, things would be completely different. Let's take a look at black's possibility. Well, none of these pieces around the king or the king itself can move. This knight can't move because it's pinned. This pawn cannot move. So it's up to this knight and this bishop. And well, this knight, it's not a very good idea for black to move it, because if it were to move, you just unprotect this knight on e4 and finish the puzzle straight away. And if this bishop is to move, well, white can just take it. And now this knight will have to move, and you can take this knight, and it's mate. So, the puzzle basically revolves around setting up this position, you know. Our starting position has white to move. However, we must find a way to pass the move and reach the same position, being black to move. I'm gonna let you try again if you couldn't solve it, and yeah, come back to me when you find a solution. So if you had another crack at the solution, and if you weren't able to figure it out, don't worry, because I'm gonna reveal the solution step by step and how you could have gotten there. So first things first, when I first tried solving this puzzle, and after realizing the idea that we want to pass a move, and black is basically limited to shuffling his bishop back and forth, just waiting, well, first thing I tried was simply losing a move here, you know, because if we go king e2, the bishop comes here, and we go king e1, the bishop comes back, and we go king f1, we reach the position I was talking about, but it's black to move, so easy puzzle, right? Bishop has to come here, we take, and now it's that whole shenanigan that I was talking about. This knight has to move, and we just take this one. Easy peasy, right? Well, not so fast, because back here, when we played king e1, in fact, black can actually go knight e3, and is not forced to play with the bishop to h2, because in this position, knight d3 is actually a check, and it's attacking both our king and our knight. If we ignore it, you can just go king d1, the knight just takes, and when we take the bishop hoping to kill the king, oh no, the knight actually goes to c6, he blocks our bishop's diagonal, and we screwed up. And if we take with the knight, we just deflected him from boxing the king, and now the king is free. If we take the knight now, it's too late. The king is just freed up from his cage, and we lose. And so we need to be a little more creative, and we're gonna lose our tempo, right? And okay, you might be like, yeah, there's so much space here on the queen side. Perhaps we can get our king there, do our little maneuver, and just come back. But this actually isn't feasible, because if you take a look, these knights and this pawn just conveniently form like the Great Wall of China, an impenetrable wall that the king just can't cross. How convenient. And so you might be inclined to trying this idea, but on the top right square, right? There's also a lot of space here. And if you take a look, Now this pawn covers this square, this knight these ones, and this one this one. So if you take a look, there's actually hope. There's a hole in the wall. So perhaps this is the right idea. Let's start our journey. The king goes to e2, black has to shuffle, remember, he can't do anything else. And now we have another dilemma. Because if you take a look, we need to go up. We can't go here because the knight protects it. We can't go to f3 because if we go to f3, we block the bishop's path and the knight just takes the pawn and the king is free. And if we go to e3, we're stepping in front of the bishop, right? However, conveniently, black has no good checks in this position. For example, if he goes knight e4, we just take the knight, the king is completely boxed in, we're going to move our king out of the way, and it's mate. And if we try something like knight e3 check, again, after we take the knight, the king is completely boxed in, and we'll just take the knight with the bishop and it's mate. And so, black is forced again to wait and shuffle with his bishop, and well, now we're at the crossroad. We can either go to f4 or d4. And f4 might seem like a shorter path, because we can straight up go to f5, g6, and so on. If we go to f4 and take the shortcut, well, knight d3 hits again, the same deflecting idea, and you lose the game. So instead, we take the long way around, we go to d4, black waits, we go to e5, black shuffles, and now we go through the hole. Black continues shuffling, and now we arrive at e6, and we're ready to do our pro gamer move, our triangulation maneuver. That's how this losing a tempo with the king is called. And we have to be very mindful of how we do this maneuver here. For example, if we do this maneuver like this, we lose the game. Because if we step into h6, there goes another landmine. Because now there's actually knight e4 check. And after the king continues his triangulation maneuver, we have knight to f6. This knight is protected. This bishop is going to be freed. And it's going to take the pawn. And you've ruined everything. So instead, you have to do this triangulation, for example, like this. And yeah, like this is actually works. You've lost a tempo. And now you just got to come all the way from where you came from. We go to f5. I'll continue shuffling. And again, you never step into f4 because, again, 93, and there goes your beautiful checkmate. So you come exactly from where you came from. Black continue shuffling, you can't do anything else. And now we make our way to e2, king makes his way to f1, and now we have bishop t1, king takes, and we're almost there. As you can see, Stockfish has finally picked up the depth. He couldn't see the mate in 20, but he finally agrees with that, at least. Because now black can try to give a little check, and we cannot take the knight. Instead, we have to move with our king. Because, well, if we take the knight, we just don't know what we're doing. Because we just free the knight. This knight kills this pawn that was helping box the king, and the king is free. So instead, we just ignore. We sidestep with our king. However, now the guy plays knight e5, protecting our knight. But we can just simply pass a move again. We can go king e2. He goes knight f3, just delaying the taking of this knight. And after we take, the guy conveniently has this pawn on g3. Because if he didn't have this pawn, this would be stalemate. And yeah, it's just a beautiful position. Because after g2, our astonishing sniper finalizes his Hitman contract and murders the Black King in extreme style. And yeah, hope you guys learned a thing or two from this triangulation maneuver. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and consider liking and subscribing if you like this foreign content. It really does help me, and yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.